Hello everyone, this is Russell Carlin, and this is my week 2 review video. And for this week we just did a basically Twitter feed kind of thing where you can post and look at all the tweets that you got, and also has a user information button down there. And for this week some things were kind of difficult, but most of it was just basically like last week, and just different lines of code, so it wasn't too terribly difficult. It was just, like I said, a couple of things were kind of confusing. And just getting right into the code here. This first part here is for the add button, and I set the action so that it'll perform a method down here. If I can find it, there it is, and it'll perform that when I click it, and basically it just opens up it has a SL Compose view controller here and opens up the Twitter posting deal, and then has a switch case for if it got canceled, it'll say it's been canceled in the NS log, and if it is posted successfully, then it'll say posted, and then this will clear out. So you can see it says canceled down there, and I'll post a new thing here in a bit. So that's all of that, and then here's what we really got into this week, is just doing a SL request, which on the videos it was TW request, I believe, but in 6.0 it got replaced by because they had Facebook and all that, so it's just kind of all together, and you just pick what type of service it is. So this one would be Twitter. So going through here, you just get your account store, and then you get your account type for the Twitter. And then here's just doing your request for access, and if it's granted, which here, then it goes ahead and does all of the information that you want to have done, which is basically getting all the Twitter accounts, picking the default one, which is 0, and then doing a home timeline request, which it goes by URL. So this is the URL used for the home timeline. And then it makes an SL request here, and service type Twitter, and it's a get method, and then it puts in the timeline URL for your request URL there. And I don't have any parameters on this one, so. And then it sets the account to the default account up here, and then it goes ahead and performs the request. And if the status code is 200, which is the code for saying that it came back successfully, then it goes ahead and puts all of the tweets into an array that I have. And then it does loading. This is just the loading message for when I can do the refresh. It's the same thing. So yeah, the little loading message here, just so you know that it's actually doing something. And then when it's done, it leaves. And this just makes that, initializes it and sets the message, and then animates it, and then it goes ahead and reloads the table. And how I made it so that it is removed when it's done is down here is the will display cell. It takes it so right before it actually puts the cell down there, it'll do this run this method, and I have it so that it checks to see if it is the last one in the whole list here. So if it's the last one in the list, then it'll go ahead and act out a button click for the alert view, which will make it disappear. So then it'll animate out. So that's how I did the message there. And so that's all for that. And if the access was not granted, then it'll tell you in the NS log. And for down here for each of the cells, how I made it so that it created the cells was basically just I went through the timeline, or the timeline tweets, my array of all the tweets, and I just pick out each one of them and then get all the information here. And the date formatters, he had to switch the date from a string to a date, and then format it how I wanted it from into a string. So I mean, it was kind of complicated to go back and forth there. So, and then it sets all of the information in the cell to all the proper information for each tweet, and then it returns the cell. So that's how it populates all the table. And here's for when I select one, it gives you all the information. And it's basically the exact same thing as the when it populates all the cells. It just goes through the timeline tweets for whichever index path .row it was, grabs all the information, formats it how I need it, and then sets all these three labels to whatever the information is for each tweet. So pretty simple. And you can see that works on there, all different ones. And that was my how to close the loading thing. And for my buttons here, this is just a refresh, which is one thing I would like to have done better. I would like to put all this in a method, because if you notice, this is pretty much exactly the same. Actually, I think I copied and pasted from up here, and the view did load, because it's just refreshing it. That's why it does the whole loading and all that. It's exactly the same. So if I could have put that in a method and just called that method whenever I needed it, it would have saved me a lot of lines of code. But I was just in a rush, so I had to do it like that. So one thing I wish I could have done better. And here is for the user information. This is one thing I had a real big issue with. It's because I couldn't figure out the right SL request to do. But eventually I found it, and I had to do the user/show to get all the information, and I didn't have screen name on it. Well, I figured out that I needed to put the screen name on there, and then I just had it as a string with format, and then I put my account username, so I got the username, put it into the screen name there, and did the request, and everything kind of came out right. And so then I just put it in the NS dictionary and got the objects for each key in for all of my information, and then put it into here. And this also is another thing I wanted to do better, was have a loading screen here, because as you can see, that takes a while for it to all pop up and populate everything, but I was not sure how to do that, so I didn't get that part done. And then here at the last part is just that perform send, which would be this here, which I'll show. I'll do a tweet here. And give it a second to kind of go through. And we'll see if it pops up here. Yep, there you go. So that's the tweet I just did. You can see 335. So and that all works, and that's what this here does. So that should be everything for this week, and I'll see you all next week.